And here it's the first order, the second one, the third, etc., etc. For example, the default order is do nothing. And the malware wait and ask in a random time this order to the command and control, and if the command and control say do nothing, it do nothing. I will show you the different feature after. So, here is a description of the communication. So the first thing that do the malware is to get information on the infected system. For example, where is the Windows directory, what is the version of Internet Explorer, or this kind of thing. And after that, he communicates to the command and control. In fact, to communicate on it, he simply uses HTTP. It's connected on the port 80 to be able to communicate with command and control. So I think that the most part of you at work use a proxy to connect on the internet, but not this variant, but other variants are compatible with proxy. In fact, they instrument Internet Explorer. So on morning, you enter your password to go on it, and during the day, you don't enter it a second time. In fact, it's stored on your system, and the malware uses directly what is stored on your system. So some variants are able to use proxy configuration to communicate through on the internet. So each sample had got three different command and control, and if the first one does not reply, it switch to the second one, and if the second one doesn't work, it switch to the third one. And go to this URL /cg -bin/int/th. So the communication is not in clear, but it's not really encrypted. It's only XOR with it's just XOR without any random. He used a random function, but with a fixed seed, so it's like no random. So when the malware communicates to the command and control give an order. The order is simply a short code. And for example, he is able to execute a binary already stored on the system. He could download a specific file from the internet and execute it. And as you can see, I had in comment the prototype of every function. So if you download the .idb file, you can see all these things on it. One other function is simply download a file, but without execute it. The attackers implement an update system, so the malware is able to download a new version of the malware with new feature, for example, or new command and control, because the command and control are hard-coded in the binary. So if the attacker would like to change the command and control, they need to change the binary. And the case by default is do nothing. It's simply waiting for the order. So it's not really useful, but we decided to create our own command and control in Python that support this protocol. And I can show you it's not a big thing. So here you've got the several features. For example, upload and exec. It's about download, it depends on point of view. And we've got the action number. So as I say, it's simply a number. Here it's 3. And after that, we've got a second number that means the directory. For example, in this case, 1 is the temporary directory. After you put the file name, and after the file name, you put the content of it. And after you've got the size. And you put each this information, and you've got the complete protocol. The only things to do is to encrypt or XOR the data And here you've got the function used to encode the data. So it looks like a random because they use run, but it's a static random, so it's not random. And we implement several features on it. So it can be useful, for example, if you've got a company, you can redirect make a fake DNS and take the DNS of the malware, forward it on a local machine with this command and control, and all infected machines in your network will appear on it. So it's the only thing you can do with that, but it was fun to understand the protocol and re-implement it in Python. So during this campaign, the attacker have an access on several machines, but as you can see, the remote administration tool can only execute things. In fact, it doesn't have a evolve feature. It's only, I would like a file and execute this file, that's all. So the attacker use it and upload a lot of interesting file on infected machine to work simply. On these additional tools, you've got some reconnaissance tools. In fact, it was networks tools to have the name of the Active Directory, have the name of the other computer in the network, all these kind of things, the version of the software installed on the system, etc., etc. Kaspersky found a password stealer, so to steal password. Email stealer, in fact, he not only targets heavy client as Outlook or Lotus Note or Thunderbird, but it targets web mailing too. For example, mail.ru was really used in Russian, I suppose, and Kaspersky find tools to steal mail stored on mail.ru, because mail.ru provide an IV client where the user can store the password. So the binary steals the password stored in the registry, I think, to steal email stored on mail.ru. They found tools to steal data on USB device. When a new USB device was connected to an infected machine, whole documented was copied to a command and control or FTP server, or it depends. They find keyloggers. They find spreading. Mobile stealers, this part was interesting. In fact, the binary waits that people connect an iPhone on the computer, and they use the official Apple library. And once the phone is connected, the attacker steals the photos, the calendar, the contact, everything stored in the phone. And the attacker used some exfiltration tools to exfiltrate data, and they use HTTP, they used FTP, SSH through SFTP, and I think it used a cloud system to upload stolen data. So if you go on the Kaspersky website, you've got the description of all these tools and how it works, what kind of specific products they target, etc., etc. So now it's our personal opinion, and in fact on this campaign only VIP people was targeted. Only I think it was embassy, state, and national organizations, this kind of thing. Diplomatic people too. That's why the document is a diplomatic card to sell, I think. And the malware itself is really simple. It only do few tasks. It download file, execute file, that's all. So we can estimate it that it's not a complex malware. It's a common malware, but all additional tools are more evolved, and the attackers essentially invest in the additional tools and not in the malware himself. And the second thing, it's make a lot of noise because it targets VIP people, but from my experience, it's not so complicated to target VIP people because generally everybody knows his name. Everybody can imagine the email address of the guy, generally first name dot last name or these kind of things. These people have got a lot of bypass. Generally, they are local administrator because they are important and they need to install software immediately or it's the end of the world. So, on my personal opinion, I think it's easier to target VIP people because they are on airport too, and generally people use open Wi-Fi on airport to work. And for us, this campaign is not extremely complex, and with a lot of time. It's not a technical issue, but it's a time issue. The attackers need times and need to be in calm. They don't. For example, once Kaspersky published a document, every big company speak about it and try to identify if they are infected, etc., and everything go really quick. And for example, the DNS used for the campaign, some of them was registered 5 years before the discovery of the attack. So during 5 years, the attackers were able to infect VIP people with spear phishing campaign or this kind of thing. So it's the end of the presentation. If you have questions, I prefer to speak not here but with you after or during the drink or this kind of things, because I don't always understand the question with the noise and etc. So thank you very much.